Okay, so let's talk about something that gives every homeowner that sinking feeling. You know the one. You look up and see that dark, spreading stain on the ceiling, and your heart just drops thinking about what a massive, expensive problem is literally hanging over your head. But does it have to be that bad? Let's dive in and figure this out. This is always the first place your mind goes, isn't it? Straight to the worst-case scenario. Tearing off the entire roof, a huge crew, thousands of dollars. It's the single biggest fear when you see that first little sign of a leak.
Well, take a deep breath because here's the good news. The answer is, more often than not, no. A leak is definitely a warning sign. You have to take it seriously, but is not always a death sentence for your roof. So what we're going to do here is give you a clear way to understand the problem, make the right call, and, protect your home without completely draining your bank account.
We're going to walk through this step by step. First, we'll get a handle on the leak itself. Then we'll play detective and hunt down where it's coming from. After that, we hit the big one, the repair versus replace decision. We'll also peek behind the curtain to see how the pros actually fix these things, break down what it's going to cost you in 2025, and finally, give you the tools to help make sure this doesn't happen again.
All right, first things first. Before we even think about picking up the phone to call a roofer, we really need to understand what that stain on the ceiling is trying to tell us.
And this quote right here, it really gets to the heart of the matter. It says leaks can be fixed quickly and affordably, which is fantastic, but there's a really important catch in there, right? The key, and our sources repeat this over and over, is that you have to catch them early. Acting fast is your single biggest advantage in this game.
So if a leak isn't always a catastrophe, then where on earth is it coming from? Let's take a look at the usual suspects. A leak isn't some kind of mysterious force of nature. It's almost always a specific point of failure. And the good news? A lot of them are surprisingly minor.
And here they are. You've got really common stuff like a few shingles that blew off in a storm, or maybe some cracked sealant around a vent pipe. Oh, and clogged gutters. That's a huge one. If water can't get down the spout, it's going to back up under your shingles and find a new way in. See, each of these is a localized problem, not a sign that your whole roof has failed.
Okay, this brings us to the most important part, making that big decision. I know it can feel totally overwhelming, but when you break it down, there's actually a pretty clear logic you can follow.
So here's the repair side of the argument. A repair is the perfect solution for these isolated issues. If your roof is still pretty young, say under 15 years old, and the leak is just in one spot, that's a really strong sign that the main structure is still solid. The problem is just on the surface, and a targeted fix is probably all you need.
But then you've got the red flags. If your roof is getting up there, maybe hitting that 20-year mark, and you're playing whack-a-mole with leaks popping up in different rooms, that's a totally different story. Widespread brittle shingles, or, and this is a big one, you go up in the attic and see soft, sagging wood, those are signs the problem is systemic. A patch at that point is just a Band-Aid on a much bigger issue.
Okay, so let's say you've decided a repair is the right move. What actually happens next? Let's pull back the curtain on what a professional roofer does so you know exactly what's going on when they show up at your house. It's a pretty methodical process, really. First, they have to find the true source of the leak, which, by the way, might be way far away from where the stain is on your ceiling. Then they'll clean the area up, do the actual repair, like replacing shingles or flashing, and, crucially, they'll often patch the underlayment below the shingles. Then they finish it off by sealing everything up tight and testing it to make sure the fix is solid.
And all that careful work we just talked about? Well, this number is the payoff. A professional repair isn't just about stopping a drip for a few months. It's about buying your roof more time, a lot of time. We're talking about extending the life of your entire roof by a solid 5, maybe even 10 years. That is a huge return on a pretty small investment.
Of course, we have to talk about that investment. Knowing what's a fair price and what you should expect to pay is absolutely key. So let's look at the average cost for 2025 based on the data. As you can see, the costs are really tied to how complex the job is. A simple shingle replacement, that's on the lower end. A more involved repair around a chimney or fixing that underlayment, that'll cost you a bit more. But look at the big picture here. Every single one of these is just a tiny fraction of what a full replacement would cost.
And wow, this chart just makes the financial argument crystal clear. An average repair today might set you back about $600, but if you let that small leak cause widespread rot and damage, you are suddenly looking at an average replacement cost of $10,000. What this really shows you is that a $600 repair today is how you prevent a $10,000 problem tomorrow.
So, the big question is, how do we stay on the left side of that chart? Let's move into our final section, which is all about being proactive and protecting both your roof and, your wallet.
A huge part of this comes down to finding a partner you can actually trust. A good, honest contractor wants you to be informed. They will show you the problem with photos, not just tell you about it. And they will never, ever use those high-pressure, you have to sign today tactics. The bottom line? Get multiple quotes, check their reviews, and always, always ask for evidence. That's what puts you in control. And you know what's even better than finding a good contractor? Not needing one as often. This simple checklist is your best defense. Seriously, cleaning your gutters, trimming trees, and getting a cheap inspection every couple of years can help you catch tiny issues before they ever turn into a drip in your living room.
So, if we boil this whole thing down, it really comes to this. See a problem? Act fast. Need a professional? Do your homework. And in between those big storms, a little bit of maintenance goes a very, very long way.
And that kind of leaves us with a final question to think about. We always think of a roof as the thing that protects us, but when you're proactive, when you maintain it and you take care of it, you're also protecting it. And it turns out that's the smartest way to make sure it can keep protecting you for many, many years to come.